I wasn't going to do a second vlog today. I was quite satisfied with my breakdown of the Rachel Maddow defense now being officially affirmed by the Court of Appeal. But lo and behold, wearing the proper shirt today because there is chicanery afoot. Viva Fry, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and as many of you also now know, aspiring member of Parliament for the People's Party of Canada for the riding of Notre-Dame-de-Grâce and Westmount. And there is chicanery afoot in the Canadian election process. For those of you who don't know, there's an election going on right now in Canada that is called for September 20th. And in the context of that election, they have something that is called the Leaders' Debate, which is basically a debate among the leaders of the federal parties under certain conditions. Those conditions being that they have to meet certain eligibility requirements in order to be invited by the Leaders' Debates Commission to participate in the debate. What are those criteria? Well, we're going to get into it. Now, fair warning, I'm probably biased in this because I am running for the People's Party of Canada, and the chicanery in my mind is that Maxime Bernier, the leader of this federal party, was not invited to the Leaders' Debate because apparently, according to the Leaders' Debates Commission standards, he did not meet the required conditions in order to be invited to the debate. Now, bear in mind, Maxime Bernier is now head of a federal party called the People's Party of Canada, and they have, as of now, I think close to 300 candidates in the 338 federal ridings. This is the second federal election in which they are participating as an independent party. This is not some election campaign party that just popped up overnight that has one candidate in the 338 ridings. This is an established federal party. So it's a little surprising that he doesn't get invited to the debate, even if it was close. And in my mind, it wasn't close because the criteria are so nebulous and ambiguous that they can yield any result they want. I'm going to read to you now the conditions set by the Leaders' Debates Commission to determine if someone of a federal party is to be invited to the debate. I'm going to read it to you now. You tell me if you understand what I just read. In order to be invited to participate in the Leaders' Debates, the commissioner decided that a leader of a political party had to meet one of the following criteria. Skipping to criterion 3, 5 days after the date the general election is called, the party receives a level of national support of at least 4% determined by voting intention and as measured by leading national public opinion polling organizations using the average of those organizations' most recently publicly reported results. Try to make sense of what I just read, and now I'm going to read to you the process that the commission goes through in order to determine the aggregate average of those polls, and let me know if this makes any sense to you. In making the above determination, the commission selected polls that were completed and released in the window from the 9 days before to 5 days after the issuance of the writs, were conducted by public opinion polling organizations that are either members of the Canadian Research Insights Council or are providing public opinion data to major media organizations using the polling organization's most recent publicly reported result, reported explicit information about the support level for the party, were conducted on a nationally representative sample of at least 1,000 respondents, and publicly released methodological information sufficient for verification of the integrity of the poll, including question wording for the vote choice questions, fielding dates, and details on sample size, weighting criteria, and survey mode. So in order for a leader of a federal party to be invited to the Leaders' Debate, he or she must have a polling average of 4% in the polling that was taken 9 days before the writs are issued, that is to say the election is called, and the 5 days following the issuance of the writs of the election. And they go to their reputable pollsters in order to use the averages of these polls in order to determine if the aggregate average of the party is polling at least 4%, such that the leader would be invited to participate in the debate. And pulling this from the Leaders' Debates Commission website, when you see the variance of these allegedly reputable pollsters, one might believe that these pollsters are nothing more than shots in the dark,
random throwing darts at a dartboard.
Because when you have one reputable pollster polling the Parti Populaire de Canada at 0.7% and you have two other reputable pollsters polling the party at 5.2%, something is wrong with your reputable pollsters. That differential between 0.7% and 5.2% is not just a difference of 4.5%. It is a difference of virtually 700% because one pollster is 700% off of the other pollster. So if when you are dealing with reputable pollsters and you have one reputable pollster that is 700% more than another reputable pollster, or one reputable pollster who is sevenfold under another reputable pollster, under two other reputable pollsters,
You have a problem with these so-called reputable pollsters.
I just did a sidebar with Robert Barnes and pollster Richard Barris, who gets it right more than many of the other so-called reputable pollsters, and we went over the rampant corruption in the polling industry and the rampant unreliability of polling insofar as you can get the polling to yield whatever result you want. So now you have the Leaders Debates Commission saying that because some of the pollsters had the Parti Populaire de Canada at 0.7%, others had them at 5.2%, and a number of other polls that I have seen have them at over 6%, they didn't meet the 4% threshold, and Maxime Bernier is not being invited to participate in the democratic process of the election of the next Prime Minister of Canada. I know there are rules, and it seems like the Leaders Debates Commission has followed those rules, but when those rules are so nebulous and you are relying on pollsters that have such wide degrees of variance between the reputable pollsters, these rules were meant to yield whatever results you want them to yield. And it is not just shocking and outrageous that Maxime Bernier is not being invited to participate in the Leaders Debate, given that he is leading a federal party with candidates in virtually every riding in Canada. It is going to leave a lot of voters feeling disenfranchised with the process itself. Disenfranchisement, disillusionment, and it is undermining the democratic process itself. So with that said, that is the update on the Canadian elections and my participation in it. I am doing what I can to raise awareness for what I feel to be very questionable rules as to who gets invited to the Leaders Debate and who doesn't. But that is just my 2 cents. That is just for your general knowledge of the Canadian federal election process. And if you like my videos, you know what to do. And with that said, look at this sunset. Enjoy it. Peace.
Good morning, Mr. Singh. I'm wondering, should Maxime Bernier be able to participate in the National Leaders Debate? And do you think the criteria for this debate should be changed at all?
No, and I've written a letter explaining how I do not believe he should be allowed. He's someone that is opposed science, that puts out very dangerous and divisive rhetoric, and is someone that is putting out messages that are discouraging the public health response to this pandemic. I think it would be the wrong thing to do, very much the wrong thing to do, to give him a platform to promote very divisive and hurtful, frankly, messaging that is counter to science, counter to people's health, and that would be a wrong thing. He's someone that is opposed science, that puts out very dangerous and divisive rhetoric, and is someone that is putting out messages that are discouraging the public health response to this pandemic. I think it would be the wrong thing to do, very much the wrong thing to do, to give him a platform to promote very divisive and hurtful, frankly, messaging that is counter to science, counter to people's health, and that would be a wrong thing.